Welcome. Happy Friday to you. So what does that mean to be happy? So this is remember that this only is of any value if you look for yourself. If it's just a distraction or another thing to think about or something to compare to what you already think you know, what you've read somewhere else, or what I said last time, or any of that, then it's I would say worse than useless. Actually, it's just another burden. And if you look, you'll see you already have more than enough burden. You don't need any more burden. So here, really, the invitation is something very, very different than that. It's to actually set down the burden. And how do we set down the burden? Well, first we have to actually look. We have to see that we're carrying the burden. We have to discover what is the nature of the burden, and we have to discover why are we doing it, and then look to see, do we really wish to do that any longer? So when I say, what is happiness? It's an invitation to look for yourself right now and see what is happiness? What does that really mean? Because you want to be happy, right? I mean, if the alternative is to be unhappy, do you want to be happy or do you want to be unhappy? So you want to be happy. I want to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy, but we don't actually usually look beyond just that superficial layer, which we think we know. Well, yes, that's good. That's desirable. I want that. We don't really look to see what is it really? What is it? What is happiness? So look and see, what is it that you're chasing after? You're chasing after something, you're pushing something away, and it's all in the name of happiness. It's all in the name of peace. It's all in the name of goodness. It's all in the name of safety. It's all in the name of well-being. It's all in the name of harmony, isn't it? You see that? You see, it's all in that. It's on the surface. That's why we do it. Every choice, everything, moment to moment, that's what motivates it. Is we're seeking out what we think is good. So we could just kind of categorize. Happiness is our shorthand for everything over here. Good, pleasurable, nice, pleasant, so forth and so on. And then unhappiness over here, this other category, bad, undesirable, mean, unpleasant, disgusting, terrifying, painful, etc. So we think clear division. Seems so clear, but only because we don't look carefully. So that's what the invitation now. Look carefully and see, all this. So every moment of your life up to now, you've been pursuing what you think is desirable, good, happy, etc. We'll just call it happy. You've been pursuing happy because that's what the unconscious programming is. It's the programming of the organism, and you just go with it. We all do. Until it dawns on us that, and this is what I'm really getting at now, I'm inviting you to see this now, that, wait a second, when I really look, I've put my best, I've given it my best, I really have. I've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. I've done so many things that I think are going to give me what's good. Don't you see that? You've read the books, you've done the workshops, you've listened to this person and that person, and you've tried to be a good person, you've tried to be an upright person, you've tried to do the right things to get ahead, to be successful, to be happy. And can't you just take a look and see, actually, it's been, well, I was going to say an absolute failure, but that's a little extreme, isn't it? It's been an absolute failure, but before we go there, we'll start out a little softer. Can't you see that it hasn't worked out so grandly? It hasn't, has it? So now we want to look and see sincerely, what is this happiness I've been chasing after? I think that I'm on the right path, but I haven't really questioned it. So let's look. Because if we're on the right path and we've been doing our best, then we're just doomed. I mean, come on. If you're on the right path and okay, maybe some of you are a little younger, but for the rest of us, who are we fooling? You think your best efforts in the past. What are you going to do? How are you? If you haven't succeeded by now, who are you fooling that you're going to succeed? Sorry to be so blunt about it, but we have to be willing to see it. We have to be willing to see that we're not going to succeed in that way. So we have to question, are we even aimed in the right direction? Do we even know what we're doing? Do we even know what happiness is? Now, in this inquiry, you're looking right now, you're looking to see, you have to look at your life, look at what you've done, look at how you've tried, look at where you're at, and just be honest. It hasn't given you your best efforts haven't given you the results that you wanted. And now I'm suggesting and I'm inviting you to question whether your standard of measurement as to success or happiness or unhappiness is even valid. Was it even valid from the beginning? Now, understand, at first this seems maybe like bad news, but I'm trying to make the point that actually this is wonderful news. It's the only hope you have. Because, like I said, if you haven't succeeded in achieving success in this way that you've been programmed to by now, it's not going to happen. And even those of you who are younger than me, but just here's a pro tip: ain't going to happen. So now, what if? Yeah, it's not fun at all. It's absolute misery to continue seeking and seeking and seeking. That absolutely, no question about it. Exhausting, isn't it? Can't you feel that exhaustion? Keep on trying. Maybe tomorrow I'm a little closer, almost there. Maybe tomorrow, almost there. So look, the thing is, when you see that what you've been seeking after, what you call happiness, and again, I'm just using that as a shorthand for everything in that camp over here, the good camp, the happiness camp, the desirable camp. You've been seeking for that, and it hasn't yielded the results that you hoped for, and it won't. It won't, because that whole thing, you have to see, It's all about, well, if we really boil it down, I mean, we could describe it at so many layers. We could say what it's about at this layer and that layer, but if we just pare it back to the most basic core level, it's all about me and fortifying me, all of it. It's all about fortifying me. What do I mean? Take a look. Who wants this? You do, don't you? That's what I'm talking about. That one that you think is going to be happy, it's all about that one. But when you achieve whatever you think you're going to achieve that's going to give you that happiness, what happens? You know the answer, don't you? You're still unhappy. Because actually that one who you mistake yourself for, it's always unhappy. And it just keeps saying, tomorrow, when we succeed a little bit more, when we get more, when we acquire more, when we've gained more, when we've proven ourselves, when we've attained it, tomorrow I'll be happy. And it doesn't matter how close you get to the goal, still unhappy. And then you keep believing, oh, tomorrow, just need a little bit more, almost there, almost there. Now look, all of this is, as I've said, is to fortify this me, fortify this one who is fundamentally defined as unhappiness. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that you should go to war with this one, because that's also a mistake. Look, see now, who is this one, this unhappy one, this lacking one, this one who needs more, who needs to win, who needs to be validated, who needs to get and get rid of, who needs to have these certain conditions in order to be okay. Look and see, who is this one. Now, don't do some fancy philosophical games with yourself. Just be very honest. Just see that it's, if you really look sincerely, well, okay, there might be some layers there. You might see there's a layer of hostility and violence, lashing out. This is stupid. This doesn't make any sense. I'm out of here. I'm going somewhere else. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know me. There's that one. So that can happen. There's that. But a little bit closer in than that, if you just are willing to just be with that, just allow that. Just see, it's just designed to scare you, because it's worked in the past. It lashes out and you say, oh, sorry, you're right. We'll keep on keeping on. We'll keep doing the same thing, hoping for a different outcome. We'll keep doing that because I don't want to upset that one. So there's that lashing out, violent tendency. But if you're just willing to be still just for a moment now, you notice that's just like it's a false front. It's a bunch of hot air. If you're willing to be still. I mean, if you're not willing to be still, of course, then you're just stuck in the mind. You're just thinking. When is it going to go away? How am I going to get rid of it? I don't think I like this. I don't feel good. What does he mean? Maybe when I figure it out, then it'll be okay. But that's just thinking. What I'm saying is just be now. There's no way you can't. So there's no wrong way to be. There's only just being. The way of being is secondary, just being, just being. So whatever happens in addition to that, that's fine. That happens. But just to be. So just to be still. And that doesn't mean you have to stop anything. It doesn't mean you have to stop your mind, stop the thoughts, stop the sensations, stop anything, but just to be, just to surrender enough in this one instance, just to allow for this recognition of what is already still. What cannot be other than still. And then you see from this recognition that all of that huffing and puffing and, you know, false threats and all of that, it's just false. It's just a superficial defense. So it comes and goes, it comes and goes. And then if you allow it to come and go, then pretty soon you might wonder, what was that even about? I don't know. I'm okay. So now look again, look and see, okay, look, I don't know. I don't actually know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what the goal is. All I know is that I really haven't succeeded. Not really. So just look and see that. And underneath that lashing out, maybe you encounter this discomfort, feeling not at ease. And maybe if you probe a little bit further, maybe you start to realize it's a little bit more than just not at ease. You're profoundly uncomfortable, actually. And maybe you start to recognize this as fear. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to take a stand. I don't know which way to turn. I don't know who to believe. I don't know what is what. I don't know which way is up. And I'm afraid. I'm alone. I'm afraid. I'm not going to get it. I'm going to fail. Maybe it takes so many different flavors. It's like, I'm going to be punished, hell and brimstone and fire, endless torment because I did it wrong. I got it wrong. I didn't succeed. You feel maybe this drive, you got it. It's like it's like this prodding or this whipping. You got to go. You got to keep trying. Don't stop now. You got to keep going no matter what. Because if you stop now, you'll be tortured endlessly. And be willing to stop anyway. Now it's like a wild, wild west. Anything's possible. There's no law, no protection. So everything can come, everything, and it will if you allow it. Now you notice if you're just inquiring with me now, if you're sincerely looking. Remember, you have to look sincerely. What does that mean, to look sincerely? It means just you have to be innocent. And we all think we know so much, we've learned so much, we have so many ideas, but it's to set all of that down, to let it go, and just to be innocent, not knowing, but to see. It's like the emperor's new clothes. All the people who are, hopefully you know the story. If you don't know the story, then you miss the punchline, but I'll just give you the punchline anyway. All the people don't, the people who are so strongly identified with their conditioning, they can't tell the truth. It requires this innocence, so total innocence, to be willing to tell the obvious truth, that the emperor has no clothes. So we have to be like that. We're just innocent. Of course, you think you know all the consequences of telling the truth, so that's there. Oh God, I can't do that, because that would then I'd lose all the ground that I've gained. If I told that truth, oh God, I can't do that, because if I did that, it would all come undone. And then I would be punished. I'd lose it all. It'd be all taken away from me. And that would be so unlike me, because I'm a good person. I can't do that. I can't tell that truth. Oh no, 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 no. But we have to be willing to be innocent, or to honor that innocence that's already there, alongside with all of the conditioning and the hardness. We have to be willing to honor that just by telling that truth. So that just means whatever it is that presents itself, we just see that. So we notice the compulsive attempt to get control, to understand, to protect ourselves, to figure it out, to be right. But here we just have to keep telling the truth. It kind of comes back over and over and over and over and over again to this fundamental recognition that all of my efforts have not produced the desired outcome. I have worked so hard and I have not succeeded. So the only intelligent thing to do, it's just to exercise basic intelligence. And again, here it's intelligence coupled, it's an intrinsic intelligence. It's not a so-called intelligence of the conditioned mind, because the so-called intelligence of the conditioned mind is, frankly, let's face it, pretty stupid most of the time. But look around, you see, we do so many stupid things, so many stupid things. And I don't mean look around your own life. I don't mean you can understand that to mean look around in the world, and that's true too. But just look around your own life, and you see, like, wow, all these stupid things, so many stupid things, stupid. But it's all from the conditioning. It's all in service of this attempt to continue to protect and defend. And fundamentally, again, it's about protecting and defending this this one who just keeps on insisting that this isn't it. It's not. This isn't it. Haven't gotten it yet. Got it. I'm just unhappy. I got to get more. So we're constantly feeding that one, coddling that one. It's like, oh, I don't want to upset you. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. So this truth telling is about seeing. I never have really succeeded, and I'm not going to succeed. And so, even though there's this layer of terror, this layer of fear, this layer of I don't, it's like primal fear, unnamed, nameless, faceless, pure terror, if we really get right down to it. And even though that's there, even though, to keep coming back to as our guide, this recognition that, wait a second, but if I obey that, if I indulge that, if I do that again, which is all I've done, let's face it, that's all we've done our whole lives. Hopefully this is clear. Okay, all we've done. I know it's not nice to see. It's humbling. But again, we have to come back to that measure that keeps us truthful, to see, okay, yes, it's painful and uncomfortable. I want to lash out. I want to scream. I want to hit. I want to blame somebody. I want to be right and righteous. But wait a second. But that's all I've ever done. And look at what that's gotten me. What a mess. Hasn't worked out very well, despite all of my pretending otherwise. We spend an awful lot of time lying to ourselves and others. But that's why it has to be counterbalanced by some moments of truth telling, so we've got to be willing to say, okay, yeah, oh, I thought I was getting somewhere. Oh, I thought I was a big shot. Oh, I thought I was all close to being enlightened. Maybe I thought I already was enlightened, except for that, few little problems there. But other than that, I thought I was 99% enlightened. But ooh, if I really tell the truth, still, I'm a slave to this one who is always lacking, always needing, always not enough. And so we want to see that, and just because, nobody else, this isn't for anybody else. This is for you. This is the ultimate self-love. And don't you want to be loved? Isn't that, you have to want to be loved? If you don't want to be loved, forget about it. There's no hope for you then. But you do want to be loved. More than anything, you want to be loved, but you don't know how. You don't know how, because you don't know how to receive it, because you don't know how to open, because you don't know how to stop serving that one who's constantly afraid. But underneath that, truer than that, you want love. Desperately, desperately want love. Unconditional love. Supreme love, the love that it's not like, I'll love you if and when you're a good little boy or a good little girl, then I'll love you. No, it's the supreme love. You want that love, unerring love, the endless love, the love that is eternal, that is, as I say, unconditional. So it's never taken away. You don't ever have to have fear of it being taken away. That's what you want. So now you have to recognize, I want that more than I want to be right. I want that more than I want to have some fancy self-image. I want that more than I want to have a positive self-esteem. I want that more than anything, because nothing else satisfies, because everything else is in service of that one who's always lacking. Everything else that I've ever done, every relationship I've sought out, every status that I've sought out, every state that I've sought out, it's all been in service of that one, but it's all temporary. And worse than temporary, it never fulfills its promise anyway. It actually, as I say, it always comes back down to, it's always presented on a silver platter to this one who's unhappy, and it says, oh, what do you think about this? Isn't this wonderful? And it throws a fit, throws the platter at the wall. It says, not enough. So we have to keep coming back to recognizing that that's what's been going on, is that I'm never satisfied, never happy. Everything that I've been doing has been in service of that. So even though there is this tremendous fear, and if you're not in touch with that tremendous fear, well, try again. So it's not far away. I promise you that. Look, here's a way. Imagine for a moment that just that whatever it is you think you're going to overcome, that you won't. You know, you think whatever that is. Oh, I'm so close to overcoming it. I'm so close to overcoming the whatever, the addiction, the compulsive behavior, the depression, the angry, anger indulgence, the boredom, the whatever you think you're gonna overcome and best it. Let's just see for a moment. Imagine you're not, and imagine that it's worse than that. You're not going to succeed in anything, and you're going to be totally humiliated. Everybody's going to know it. Everybody's going to know. It's going to be everywhere. This public knowledge that you're a total fraud, that everything that you've presented yourself as is just a total lie, that you're weak, afraid, that you lie, that you cheat. And that everybody, not only will everybody know it, but you'll know it, and God will know it. And you say, oh, I'm too evolved, I don't believe in God. Well, whatever, whatever you the point is, whatever it takes to allow yourself to finally let down the defenses, because you see that it's hopeless, absolutely hopeless. You're never going to win. And then see that you can't even do that. You can't even do that much. That's how bad it is. You can't even do that. Because do you see what happens? This is, oh, I think I get it. This is the new strategy. I've got it. Okay, now I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win at losing. Tell me more. How do I lose more so that I can win? Now, can you see? It's like this: everything you dislike about yourself, everything that you think is unacceptable, unlovable, unforgivable. Just imagine for a moment that you're not going to overcome any of that, and that it's all there, and it's all public knowledge, and it's all just, you're totally exposed. Maybe you can feel the relief in that. Now, if you don't feel the relief in that, then just see what it is that I've said earlier, that there are these layers. There's the layer of the, angry, lashing out. Who does he think he is? I'm not like that. I'm not dishonest. I'm not a cheat. So there's that. Just see it. Just see that that's there. And then see if you're just willing just to be without, like, you see what happens is like, there's this little voice over here, is the angry voice, the, self-righteous voice, blah, 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 blah. And then there's the other voice over here. And you're like, oh, that's very reasonable. That's a very reasonable voice over there. Yes, of course, I'm not so bad. What is he talking about? That's right. These two voices going, and you're just sort of like entranced by it. But if you just be for a moment, you don't need to stop it. Just be and see it, the drama playing out in your own mind, in your own body, in your own experience. Then for this one moment, you just see that that's what it is. It's just a drama. Now, beneath that, prior to that, you encounter, as I say, this fear. Very, 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 very big discomfort. Maybe you call it anxiety. You could call it so many names. It doesn't matter what you call it, but just notice prior to all of that, just notice, oh, I don't feel comfortable. I don't like it. I feel afraid. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be abandoned. I don't want to be punished. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be bad. So then same here, you just see that there's a drama playing out in your own mind, in your own body, in your own experience, in your own perception, and just notice that drama is playing out, but you just be without changing any of that or trying to fix it or dress it up or take a side or anything. Just see it. And then perhaps, maybe you start to notice that there's a relief. Amid the failure, amid the badness, amid the ugliness, amid the dishonesty, the thieving, the cheating, the scheming, the vengefulness, the pride, the arrogance, amid all of that, such a relief. To be exposed, to be truly free, transparent, nothing to gain, nothing to lose, nothing at all. Now, whatever happens, because things will happen, it comes, ultimately, it comes down to, first of all, there has to be the recognition, the glimpse, and then the recognition. So the glimpse is like, you're in the dark, and it's only dark, and you've only known dark. You've never known light at all. You thought you knew light, but you never knew light at all. And then all of a sudden, a little pinprick And the actuality of light, the real experience of light, that's the glimpse. Completely unknown. Out of totally different dimension. Completely unknown. Completely unknown. Unlike anything that you've known. So that it's a shock. It has to be. It has to be a shock because it's totally new. Completely unlike anything that you've known. And that's the glimpse. And then the recognition, because the glimpse happens, and then you know what happens after that. You have the glimpse, and then you go right back to the regular habits. And then you maybe tell people, oh, I had a glimpse of light 10 years ago. Oh, really? What is that? What was that like? Oh, it's hard to explain, but here, I'll paint a picture for you. Yeah, whatever. But then it's just like a commodity. It's not fresh and alive anymore. It's dead. So the glimpse doesn't by itself do anything other than just shed that light, opens that possibility, that it extends an invitation. But then there has to be a receptivity. The receptivity has to be, and this is the recognition, that is true. It is the only truth. Everything other than that, everything else is a lie. So that's the recognition. And that's what we've looked at together today, to really have, it's to have the recognition, this is the truth telling, to see, God, my conditioning is so strong, and the compulsion to do something to fix it, to go back into the usual familiar way of trying to manage and deal, all to maintain this shell of protection for this fear. And to see it finally and just keep seeing it, that's the truth telling. And that's what gives rise to this recognition that has only produced misery. It can only produce misery. It will never produce anything other than misery. And here, something fresh, something new, something alive, something totally different, a completely different order, unknown, ungraspable. I can't do anything with it. I never will be able to do anything with it. I can't do anything with it. It's beyond me. It's beyond my ability to do anything with it. It exists outside of the realm of me. But by some miracle, it is entered, it's penetrated into this realm of me as this ray of light, showing me, extending this invitation out of it, out of the realm of me, outside of this, showing me there is something outside of it, something outside of me, outside of what I've known, outside of this construct of me and my life and myself and my world and my understanding, is showing me this. And that's the recognition that is true. Everything else starts to look kind of pale, a little ugly. So the glimpse is essential, but by itself can't it is a it extends the invitation, but there has to be a receptivity. That receptivity is the recognition, and that's on our part. We have to be willing to keep telling the truth and look and see, even though it's uncomfortable. Then it has to be lived. It has to be living. It has to be now. So it does no good if it was yesterday, 5 minutes ago, a second ago. If we're referring to something in the past, no matter how recent the past, it's dead and it's of no use to us. And And as I said earlier, it's just a burden. It's just one more thing to burden ourselves with. Oh, I got to remember that. See, you don't have to remember anything. The only reason you think you need to remember something is because you're trying to hold on to something. To inside of this realm of me, this shell of me. And so then it seems like you need to hold on, but it doesn't need to be held on to or remembered. It's alive now. It's only truthful now. So that has to be, now there's that little pinprick through which that ray of light is shining. And that has to simply be allowed to expand. So how do we allow it to expand? We allow it to expand by surrendering all of our false notions and seeing them in the light of that truth. So that as we started out by inquiring today, what is it to be happy? What is happiness? We start to see everything illumined by that light of truth, that light of aliveness now. And we see that illumined by that light now, when we look sincerely at what is this I've been chasing after, this happiness, we see that happiness that I was chasing after was just, it was a false front. It was just a pretty package that I used to dress up this compulsive protection of the fearful self. That it all required strain and effort, mental activity, comparison, reference. Who am I now? Where am I coming from? Where am I going to? What's good? Again, how am I going to get there? So much burden, but this light of truth illumines that and reveals, oh, what a heavy load. Oh, how miserable. Oh, how false. What a relief. And in this moment, just to gaze at that light. And I'm saying it's up there, but it's not. It's in here. It's from within. And it's, when I say within, I don't mean that it's literally necessarily inside the body, but I mean it's not sensed exclusively, at least through the senses as we normally are accustomed to. So we have to be willing to look at what is the source of all of that. And that source is here. It's so intimate. It's our own self. That's where the light is emanating from. And we just notice it's so close. You can't think about it because every thought is too late. Every thought is emanating from that. It's illumined by that. But this here is prior to all of that. So we can't think about it. The thoughts emanate from it. So we just have to keep in a very light way, we just keep noticing this light and allow that light to illumine everything. And in that light of truth, we see all of that is unnecessary, all of that grasping, all of that efforting and strain, all that was in service of this protection of this fearful self. So now I'd like to invite you to join me in this inquiry as an experiment into, it's an inquiry in peace, into the expression of peace, which we began earlier this week. So just notice now, here in this heart of the true self, this source of the only light there is, that light of consciousness that illumines everything, that's prior to every thought, that's the most intimate most intimate essence of yourself, timeless, formless, uncreated. Notice that here is the actuality of the awesomeness of true peace. That this true peace, if you really allow yourself to recognize it, to feel it, to notice it, you'll notice it's so vibrant and alive. It's not passive. It's enormous, infinite, and that it is capable of an equally enormous expression of unconditional love, so that if you allow it right now, you can allow it to take everything. You can surrender everything to it. You can surrender every thought to it, every emotion to it, every feeling, every sensation, every memory, every image, everything. Everything can be surrendered to it. So here at the heart of being, we have this flame of peace that illumines all and consumes all. And if you really allow yourself, you can feel that. You can notice that. And then the inquiry, the question is to begin to explore this possibility of the expression of that peace, that true peace, at all levels of existence. So that yes, we can know it here in this moment of intimate silence within ourselves, but can we also know it when we're at work, at the office, at the store, with our children, with our spouses, with our parents, with our neighbors, with our pets, when we're engaged in any activity? Can we also know this peace? Can we know the reality of this peace? And can we know this at all levels in our feelings, emotions, sensations, thoughts, all modes of perception? So as we're beginning to explore that possibility, it's just an invitation to start to be curious about that. Just notice where there's an objection to that, where it seems like, I don't think I can really envision this piece expressed and known in this aspect of my life. Whatever that is, it could be with your parents or your spouse or your children, or at work, or maybe in the political arena. Maybe you have, maybe you're at war with your own body and you don't see any possibility of the expression of peace within your body. Maybe you don't see any possibility of the expression of peace in terms of your relationship with the earth environment. Maybe you don't see any possibility of peace in terms of your relationship or understanding of the culture you live in. Whatever it is, you just see where the objection is, and there'll be many objections. So don't get overwhelmed. Just whatever presents itself first, which just seems to be, you see, there's a natural intelligence that just presents whatever it is. It's just a stream, and you just notice that, and then just lightly be with that, and just start to notice what you do, how you do that objection. So when you think about that or envision that scenario, that place, the people, the situation, the words, the interaction, whatever it is, just notice how you do that sense that there's not peace and that there's no possibility of peace. And notice that there's a tension, a contraction, a grasping, a hardening. And then notice, do you really want that? I mean, is that really worth it? The amount of effort and misery and strain and all of that, is that really worthwhile? Maybe you think it is. And if so, well, fine, be honest about it. But maybe you can see, no, it's not really worth it. I mean, it's actually, you see here the same thing. You just find there's just this habitual, compulsive service to this fearful self. I'm just afraid that if I don't do that, if I don't protect myself, if I don't indulge those habits of belief and thinking and so forth, and then I'll be hurt. So you just allow yourself just to be, if possible, if appropriate, just allow yourself to be with that experience and just notice it's not really worth it. It's not really worth continuing to indulge those habits of protecting this false, fearful self, because it doesn't ever, there's no hope of happiness that way, not true happiness, unconditional happiness. The truth, the real truth of happiness is unknown to the mind because it's completely unconditional. And there's no way to have that as long as we cling to the conditions. So just see if it's possible that maybe there is a way. It's beyond your mind, it's beyond what's known, it's beyond what's already happened, but it's here at the heart of being. It is this raw, unconditional, pure peace, alive, vibrant. And maybe you notice it begins to, this flame of it begins to illumine and then perhaps even consume this obstacle, this belief, this limitation, so that you feel yourself opened to this possibility that's pure potential. It's totally unknown. You don't have to know what that would look like or how it might be or who has to do what or anything like that. It's just to feel this opening, this alive, fresh, vibrant flame of pure peace and pure potential, expressing here and now in you, through you, in this moment as a totality, just to feel that. So that we can begin to truly express peace, the truth of peace, unconditional peace, the truth of who we are in our lives, boldly, courageously, bit by bit. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to, nothing. There's no rules for you. There's just the truth of you, the aliveness of you. And as you have the courage to continue to open to that and to see that and to allow that, then you see this peace is expressing. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me in this inquiry into the expression of unconditional peace. And that's it for the formal portion today. And for those who are here live, we'll stay on for the Q&A if you'd like. Okay, so I'll end this recording now.